Hey, Days of Judah here. When you are committed to the process, you cannot be stopped. My phone is full, but I guess that's to be expected when you have a 1-year-old daughter and you think she's cute, so you just keep taking videos. So I am filming this on my laptop, and thank goodness for different forms of technology. So I wanted to take a minute to connect with some of the things that I've been thinking about and feeling about the things that have been unfolding since the death of Mr. George Floyd. I feel a little bit like one of those Muppets or on Sesame Street where they're like, I don't know how I'm feeling. I don't know what this emotion is that I'm feeling. I feel all these, I don't know what the name for it is. I'm gradually kind of figuring out what's going on inside of my head and inside of my heart. And I also, those emotions are changing over time, as things get deeper in, it becomes sort of evolves. So that's kind of what's happening now. The first thing I think that I felt was furious. Just not necessary at all. Shouldn't have happened. Like by any stretch of the imagination, it was wrong. There was no following of procedure. I feel like I've seen recently a lot of videos of Black men posting, talking about, I'm a nice guy, I play hockey, I read books, and I feel like all of a sudden there's this kind of like Black people are trying to justify their existence, which is silly. Because it shouldn't have happened. Like if you were a serial killer, it shouldn't have happened because there is a protocol and a procedure for how you take a person into custody. And that did not happen. So the first emotion that I felt like it was just, just right in my face was just a lot of anger. And then after a couple days, just feeling a little bit overwhelmed, or not, I don't know, overwhelmed or like swallowed. Those two things don't feel exactly the same for me, but just like, oh my gosh, all of this, and all this somehow is connected to the color of my skin, which, like when when you've been in quarantine for like weeks and you've just been minding your own business. And then all of a sudden it just, all this stuff about, what it means to be Black in America. So I think just feeling swallowed, feeling tired. Because after all that swimming that you do through social media and your own feelings and everybody else's feelings and all this stuff that's coming out, you're just tired. And then you think, then you think about like, well, at least, I've been thinking about raising, the Mr. and I have been thinking about raising our child and what that means and how that looks and, all the unfolding of all that sort of stuff. So there's tired. Then today there was deep disappointment, like just, because the person in charge of our government has not addressed the need, the hurt, the reason for all of the outcry, for the riots, all that stuff. I know, smashing windows is not the right action, But what happened at the center of all this was not the right action. And the person in charge just did not pay attention, did not address, did not, just nothing. And then on top of that nothing, basically was like, what was the phrase? If there's looting, then there will be shooting, so a lot of disappointment about that. And I don't even know why I'm disappointed because I really didn't have I wasn't expecting anything of great, comfort or merit or anything coming from that direction. But holy mackerel, my goodness. Wow. Just yeah. And then also somewhere in there is gratitude. Because I got a phone call today from a friend who knows where I live in the area, not in the exact, not on our street or anything, but close by there were some protests going on, and just got a phone call saying, "How are you doing? Everything okay? How are you feeling? What I mean, I'm definitely not the voice of all Black people by any means, but it's nice for to know that someone is thinking of you, and is wondering how you're navigating the space and if you're physically safe and all that kind of stuff. I had a weird moment of gratitude because I have a blog that I like to follow, which is nothing to do with race whatsoever. It's like a design blog. And I logged in today, and the first thing on the screen, huge as life, was a big article that said Black Lives Matter. Or the I can't think, it's late. The graphic image design. Wow, I'm so tired, sorry. The picture for the article said Black Lives Matter. And then I clicked on it, and it was basically I believe is the editor for this this online blog that I like to follow, was just talking about like, this is not right. And it was coming from a person who is white, and they said, this is, I know that this this blog is not about that, but how can I write about the design of an apartment when all this other stuff is happening in our world? How can I just like ignore that? And I felt gratitude because like when you're having all these emotions of feeling swallowed and all that kind of stuff, and you think, oh, like other people are just living, it's nice to know that other people are identifying and seeing and responding and feeling motivated in some kind of way, form, or fashion. So that inspires gratitude. And I don't know if this last feeling is fully settled in yet. I know it will. I know myself. I know how I've been raised. The last feeling I would say is determination. Just determined to not get stuck, to not like stay in a place of like, oh, what is going on, overwhelmed, like just I can't, not to stay there, but to be motivated to continue to live my life fully and richly, and not as a victim. not as like I have anything to prove or I have anything to justify, but just because, it's a God-given gift to myself, to just be, to exist, to be me. And I have a little person who's following me around the house, who's watching me, who's taking cues from me, and needs to see me, just keep rocking it, keep owning it. Needs to continue to see Black excellence. I love that phrase. It's a good phrase. So yeah, it is like Sesame Street. There's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of emotions. I'm trying to name them one by one. And that's what's going on. But I really wanted to respond. I wanted to say something because it was just, everything was just inside and I just needed to sort it through. Thank you for listening. This is Days of Judah. I hope that this day and age has you stirred up, but stirred up to good action. I hope that this is a tipping point, but a tipping point in the right direction. And I hope also for peace, that we, whomever we are, that we have peace, and that we find it and we protect it, and that we continue to grow. Have a good night.